Round two.
Guys, welcome to Black Scout Survival Late Night Live. Thanks for tuning in. So I've been calling this for about, I think, a year now, where I've been publicly saying it. I've probably been saying it since day one, since inauguration. But I've had a lot of naysayers as of late, even the past 2 weeks. A ton of people tell me that I don't know how politics work. Well, let me tell you something. I may not know all the laws and such, but these boys don't play by the law. We know that. We know that. The deep state, they say, oh, he can't just step down because of donations and such. Well, he did, didn't he? Didn't he? A lot of guys owe me an apology. Drop an apology below in the comments for me. See, the thing is I look at things as if I were trying to do something. If I was trying to scheme, and that's how I figure a lot of these things out. That's why I predict a lot of these things. The thing is, I've seen a decline in Joe Biden since day one, since whenever he missed the debates because he was down in the basement. I noticed these things, and there's not a chance in hell that I think that he was the most popular president in U.S. history in 2020. There's no way, right? As the votes showed, saying that he was the most popular president in history. I don't believe that. You know, in 2020, they had social distancing and all that kind of stuff on their side, but that is played out. No one's going to play that game anymore. And it's honestly too late to even play it. Now, here's the letter that he released today. And basically says, over the past 3.5 years, we've made a great progress as a nation. Today, America has the strongest economy in the world, which is a lie. He's lying. I mean, this is the thing about these folks. They just tell lies and they expect sheep to believe them, and a lot of sheep do. He says, we've made historic investments in rebuilding our nation and lowering prescription drug costs for seniors and expanding affordable health care to a record number of Americans. We've provided critically needed care to 1 million veterans exposed to toxic substances. We passed the first gun safety law in 30 years. Like, that's something to brag about. He said it appointed the first African-American woman to the Supreme Court and passed the most significant climate legislation in the history of the world. America has never been better positioned to lead than we are today. I mean, come on. No one is enjoying America, not even leftists. They're all complaining about it. Anyway, he goes on. I know none of this could have been done without you, the American people. Together, we overcame once-a-century pandemic and the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression, which we haven't overcame it, and you caused it, buddy. We protected and preserved our democracy, and we've revitalized and strengthened our alliances around the world. It is the greatest honor of my life to serve as president. And while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and country for me to stand down and focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. I will speak to the nation later this week in more detail about my decision. For now, let me express my deepest gratitude for those who have worked hard to see me re-elected. I want to thank Vice President Harris for being an extraordinary partner in all the work, and let me express my heartfelt appreciation to the American people for the faith and trust you have placed in me, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, this was his letter, but I do find it odd that there's no presidential seal here. Like, did he even write this letter? Does he even know this letter exists? Because even up until this morning, he's going to win the election. I mean, he's been saying that. He's never steered away from that he wasn't going to run. He said this the whole time. So it's very strange all of a sudden now, because a few days ago we heard people saying that he'll be gone by the weekend, and it turns out to be true. Where there's smoke, there's fire. I've been saying that over and over and over again. Where there's smoke, there's fire, guys. That's all you got to do. Smell the smoke, right? But let me make this very clear to you. Biden is only stepping down because the attempt on Donald Trump was not successful. 100%. They didn't mean for Biden to step down as a nominee. They meant for Trump to get JFK'd. And then Biden would have cruised his way back into the White House because Republicans would have been so devastated by that. But because if you look back, because I said this last week, if you look back, leading up to the debate, there's no talk of him stepping down. He goes into the debate and gets demolished. Everyone calls for him to step down. And then all of a sudden, the week before the assassination attempt, everybody's like, we got to stand behind our guy. You can go back and look. All of them were saying it. Oh, he's a nominee. We need to stand behind him. Because they didn't think Trump would exist by the weekend. However, he defied death. Now, everyone was calling for him to back down again. After that didn't happen, everybody was saying, step down. Sit down, Joy. Now, the other thing is that if he ends his reelection campaign, how can he even justify being president? Obviously, he's stepping down because the drug cocktails are just not working anymore, or they're so detrimental to his health, he's not going to exist much longer. Because you have to see the various, if you look at the various different times Joe Biden has spoke, you see different versions of him. And people even have went as far as to say, even me, that maybe there's a masked guy. Who knows? But if you vote Democrat, that means you're okay with a shadow government, because what you just saw was the shadow government telling him to step down, and the entirety of his presidency, because obviously he's been failing to dementia or something, and he's not been in control of anything. So there's been a shadow government that has been in control. And let's be very clear about exactly what just happened. The Democrat Party, the DNC, forced the nominee off the ballot just 100 days before election. And what this deal was, this threw all the votes of 14 million Americans who voted for Joe Biden in the Democrat primaries in the garbage. You just saw the DNC shadow government say, screw your vote. We're picking our candidate because Joe Biden is not polling well. Now, to be honest, it would have been better for Joe Biden to stay in the race for us as Americans. It would have been better because whatever ace they have up their sleeve, I can assure you is much worse. I can assure you of that. Biden immediately threw his support towards cackling Kamala. Now, Barack Obama refused to endorse Kamala Harris, saying Democrats will select an outstanding nominee and express confidence in the party's ability to find a strong candidate. That's his words. So Obama has just shown his face that he's leading a shadow government and just said to hell with every vote. If you're a Democrat, if you're on the left watching this video right now, you cannot look at your party and say they're the party of the people, because they just said, we're throwing your votes in the trash. We don't care what you say. We're going to pick our best nominee, our strongest candidate. So personally, I don't believe Kamala will be the pick. I've always thought that. I never thought she'd be the pick. And even AOC backs me up on this. Listen.
And I'm going to say what a lot of these folks aren't saying. I'm just going to say it. If you think that there is consensus among the people who want Joe Biden to leave, that they will support Kamala, Vice President Harris, you would be mistaken. And I'm going to say that because if they're going to come out and say all their little things on background off the record, but they're not going to be fully honest, I'm going to be honest for them. I'm in these rooms. I see what they say in conversations. A lot of them are not just interested in removing the president. They are interested in removing the whole ticket.
Now you have to respect AOC. I can't stand her, but you have to respect her because she just signed her own sentence. She really did. She just went and told everyone what the truth is, which we know, but the sheep don't know this. They want a complete new ballot. Now, it could be Gavin Newsom as the VP, or maybe he's the pick. I mean, I think it would be a poor choice for Gavin Newsom. I really do. But Gavin just canceled his speech at the Ninth Circuit Judicial Conference in Sacramento on Monday, and he's canceled all appointments for the next 2 to 3 days. Strange. But you have to look at the polling here. Trump has a lead over Kamala. We knew that. But there is talk that it could be two-time failed presidential candidate Hillary Rodham Clinton, and expected to run against Trump. Clinton is younger than both Biden and Trump. She's former Secretary of State, First Lady. She's part of the deep state. She did throw her support. Her and Bill did throw her support behind Kamala. But Alex says different. Check him out.
And we saw the Hill, all the news reporting Hillary set to replace Joe Biden. I called Roger Stone. I called other sources. They said, yeah, that's the word. They're really going to try to replace Joe Biden in Chicago with Hillary Clinton, with all of her criminal activity, all of her background, all of this. So they are.
So he's saying it. He obviously heard something. He knows something. And there's been other chatter. He's not the only one. I also think that would be a poor choice. Honestly, the only person that they say, quote unquote, polls better is Michelle Obama. Now, Michelle Obama has been very adamant she will not run. But when you come in at the fourth quarter and your opposition was not expecting it, it's like bring out the special teams. I think it could be possible. Now, again, you look at all these folks, really think about this, guys. Like, I want to hit this home. I want to hit this home, how dark this is. Like, I think a lot of people are brushing this off and not actually letting it saturate in their brain what just happened. Remember all the primaries that people participated in, all the donations, all the time and energy spent, and it was all for nothing. The DNC will handpick their candidate, completely disregarding those people who voted, right? Votes. Americans' votes. Their voice is irrelevant. To me, what you're witnessing is nothing more than a coup. And I've been saying that. I said a coup was happening. And that's what this is. The shadow government said, F your pick. It shows your vote as a joke. It's just a formality. I like, here, let me show some tweets here. So the people have been lecturing us about democracy just orchestrated a coup against the president of the United States. Exactly. Anyone still arguing Trump is a threat to democracy is a joke. Democrats just wiped out their entire primary system to replace their candidate with roughly 3,000 party elites voting. The will of their primary voters didn't matter at all. They staged an actual insurrection. It's true. Joe Biden, my fellow Democrats, I've decided not to accept the nomination and to focus all my energies on my duties as president for the remainder of my term, blah, blah, blah. So the other thing is, let me also say this. Let me dive deeper in this, because I think a lot of people are just, it's the slow ball. I talk about this all the time. I think a lot of Americans, even conservatives, they take a lot of like grain of salt mentality towards the times. Like, I'm a survivalist and I've been one for 25 years. I've thought the government's going to fail this whole time. That's why I do what I do. And that's why I prepare. You know what I mean? I'm not into a lot of things other people are, because I think the world is going to end. America's going to end. And I prepare for it. You know, I'm not into bushcrafting, carving spoons. I'm into survivability. And so I look at these things and see how it plays out and what I would do if I was evil overlord. And you think back to last week when Trump took a bullet in the ear. Think if it had been successful, it would have been a 2-for-1 because the opposition would have been removed. One. Number two, it would have been the strongest case in history to disarm Americans during the time that they would really need to disarm Americans. Reagan was shot, and it set forth the Brady Act, if you guys are old enough to know that. The Brady Act is the biggest anti-2A bill that's happened in America, other than the assault weapons ban that lasted for some time, not eternally, but the Brady bill has, and it has destroyed the Second Amendment. In my opinion, it's the worst thing that's ever happened to the Second Amendment. But because a shot was taken at a U.S. president, if it had been the beloved Donald Trump, I think you'd even see conservatives jumping on it. Some, because you got to think not all conservatives are AR-15 guys. Because I've seen, like during the bump stock debacle, that was Donald Trump was behind that actually. But whenever I seen and spoke to other Americans, other quote unquote patriots, and they said, well, I don't care about a bump stock. I don't use those. It's not about if you use it or not. It's not about if you like it. It's about the fact is they're chipping away at freedoms, And what better way would have been right after this? Now, I'm going to do another video probably tomorrow about that. I want to talk a little more in depth on that assassination attempt. I did break my finger, if you didn't know. If you see my finger, it is broken, but it's okay. It'll heal by tomorrow. Anyway, guys, I wanted to share this. I want to know your thoughts. I just don't see Hillary. I don't see Kamala. I don't see Gavin Newsom. I don't think none of them stand a chance. I think Big Mike will come out in the fourth quarter. Special teams. Trick play. I could be wrong. I want to know your thoughts, though. The Forgotten, been watching you 5 years. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you, man. Josh Finley, thank you. Trump was supposed to be sentenced on July 11th. Exactly. That's another reason why he was supposed to be sentenced. They push it back because they're like, well, we don't need it. There's so much into this tomorrow's video. I'm going to talk about this. And you cannot question. Do not miss tomorrow's video because you cannot question what happened wasn't a shadow government setup. Solid Rock. She could be, brother. She could be. Again, thanks, Solid Rock. Yep. It is. Shadow government exists. And HE, the U.S. border is wide open for a reason. Yeah, absolutely. You got to stay frosty, my friends. Stay frosty. Strapped and dangerous. Leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. Who you think's going to come into play? Big Mike fourth quarter. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Stay frosty, strapped, and dangerous. Thanks so much. Take care.